Well, good Sunday to you all. I'm Brandon Jones.
And I'm Chris Betts. We begin tonight with a crash in East Austin. At least 8 people have been sent to the hospital, including 5 children. KVUE's Aaron Jones was at the scene and joins us now in the newsroom. So, Aaron, tell us what happened here.
Well, Brandon and Chris, around 7 p.m., an SUV heading west on Hudson Street veered off the road and into a wooded area where it flipped over. Austin Travis County EMS reports there were at least 8 people inside, telling us 1 child has life-threatening injuries and another has serious injuries. 3 other children and 1 adult were also taken to the hospital. The crash happened off a narrow 2-lane street, and people who live nearby call it dangerous, saying more safety measures need to be made.
That's like the 4th wreck we've had like that, where somebody comes over the hill quick from 183 and a light would be good, a road hump, something.
They probably need to widen this street up a little bit or something, because you got a lot of traffic coming off of 183 and you got construction just going on.
And it's still unclear what caused the crash or if speeding or alcohol was involved. Brandon?
Thank you, Aaron, so much. Well, it's hard to believe it's already been a year, but today marks the anniversary of the tragic hot air balloon crash in Caldwell County. All 16 on board, including the pilot, were killed. The Night Beat's Jason Puckett was at the scene of the crash near Lockhart with a look back at the deadliest balloon crash in U.S. history.
Brandon, this memorial has been growing since it was first started just days after the crash. A physical marker to remember the 16 people who lost their lives in this field last year. And for those visiting today to pay their respects, well, they said the wounds are still fresh. An empty field and a touching memorial, the only remaining signs of the mayhem last year.
But the whole thing is in flames now.
That 911 call from July 30th, 2016, when Margaret Wiley walked out her door to a site she'll never forget.
And I looked over there, and the flames were where the memorial is, just inside the fence, oh, maybe 15, 20 feet, is where the balloon, the basket actually came down.
Her dog heard the initial crash and alerted her. At first, she assumed it was a tractor malfunction. Soon, though, the chase car from Heart of Texas hot air balloon rides arrived on scene.
You knew automatically when you saw the chase car that there was more than one person. And it's just kind of a, how in the world?
Our mission is to find out what happened so that we can keep it from happening again.
Since that initial press conference last year, the NTSB has been able to explain a bit more about what happened. The balloon, flown by pilot Skip Nichols, left a nearby Walmart with 15 passengers. It was during their landing in foggy conditions that the balloon hit electric lines and burst into flames.
I knew that they were going up. I mean, they had pictures on Facebook, a picture that they posted that morning.
Eileen Lang was at the memorial Sunday to remember her friends Joe and Teresa Owens in Holly Huckabee.
All 3 of them always had a smile on their face.
Lang vividly remembered the day last year at home in Katy, Texas, when the news started to spread.
A girlfriend of mine called and said, pretty sure that the hot air balloon that they were on went down.
Lang says they waited days, hoping the news was wrong, but it wasn't.
I feel them daily, and I guess just here to say, you know, I'm still thinking about you.
For the nearby homeowners and for the friends and family of the crash victims, it's a day that changed their lives forever.
Live it to the fullest, because you don't know what's going to happen.
The NTSB are planning a meeting in October where we're told they are going to finalize this investigation and release their information to the public. They weren't able to comment right now on anything else. Also, the Heart of Texas Air Balloon Rides Company closed down just following the crash. They did not respond to our request for comment. If you want to find out more information about the lives lost and their legacies, make sure you check our website, kvue.com. For now, though, here in Lockhart, I'm Jason Puckett, KVUE News, Night Beat.
I'm joined in the Storm Center here with Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon. Another record day for heat, but any relief inside?
Thankfully, next couple of days, we're going to see these temperatures slowly cool and even mix in some rain chances. But 3 days in a row of either tying or breaking the record today. The record set back in 1957 at 104. We beat it by 2 degrees at 106 at Camp Mapry. Tied the record at Bergstrom at 105, 106 at Mapry, and also in San Marcos, 105 today in San Antonio, and triple digits over much of the area. So this is 13 days in a row of triple-digit heat, and for the year, We're at day 27. But here's the good news. Temperatures slowly cooling. Now, we're still in the triple digits tomorrow, but after tomorrow, I think we get below the century mark with building rain chances, especially for the second half of this week. As much as an inch, if not a little bit more, of rainfall is in the forecast over the next 7 days. We'll work down for you hour by hour coming up.
And it's been just so dry outside, Albert. It's a good reminder that the Austin Fire Department is asking you to just be careful with those flammable objects. They responded to at least 3 balcony fires this week alone after an improperly discarded cigarette lit up an apartment off Seton Center Parkway near the Domain. Thankfully, those residents are okay and they will be able to re-enter their apartment tonight. But again, they're warning you, please, especially in these dry conditions, it just takes a single cigarette in the wrong place to ignite one of those fires. And Austin police trying to piece together tonight what led to a teen stabbed in North Austin earlier today. Austin Travis County EMS responded to that stabbing near 35 in Runberg before taking the teen to Del Seton Medical Center with potentially serious injuries. Police say the suspect or suspects got away. The victim's injuries are not expected to be life-threatening.
A week after 10 immigrants died in a hot trailer in Texas, nearly 200 have been rescued trying to get across the border in a trailer in Mexico. 178 migrants were found Saturday in a trailer in Veracruz State, about 400 miles from the U.S. border. They had been abandoned by traffickers, and a few got away and ran to local residents for food and water. Mexican authorities say many of them are from Central America, and they will be returned to their home countries. This comes 1 week after 39 immigrants were found in the back of a trailer in San Antonio. The driver is facing charges connected to the deaths of 10 of those people. He faces life in prison.
In the meantime, Pope Francis made a plea asking the world to help fight human trafficking. He called it a form of modern slavery during his traditional Sunday prayer today. The United Nations had labeled today World Day Against Trafficking. The International Labor Organization estimates that 21 million people around the world are victims of forced labor. Well, tomorrow marks the start of a revamped White House operation.
But the new chief of staff faces a growing list of challenges here. ABC's David Wright explains.
Tonight, as the president gets set to sign new Russian sanctions approved by Congress despite his own objections, the Kremlin is retaliating. Vladimir Putin appeared on national television to announce the expulsion of hundreds of U.S. diplomats, the largest forced reduction at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow for nearly 100 years, since the Russian Revolution. Here at home, challenges too. The president is making it clear he's not ready to accept defeat on health care reform, tweeting, "Don't give up, Republican senators. The world is watching."
You can't promise folks you're going to do something for 7 years and then not do it.
But the Republicans who voted against the bill have no regrets. Maine's Susan Collins says she got a round of applause at the airport when she landed in Bangor.
It was just amazing. I've never had that happen in the 20 years that I've been privileged to serve in the Senate.
President Trump has repeatedly said the only alternative to a repeal is to let Obamacare fail.
The best thing we can do, politically speaking, is let Obamacare explode. It is exploding right now.
He repeated that Friday after the Senate's vote.
You know, I said from the beginning, let Obamacare implode and then do it. I turned out to be right. Let Obamacare implode.
Is that what he's going to do?
No, I think, again, that punctuates the concern that he has.
Today, Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price insisted Trump is just trying to move the debate in the right direction.
That's why he keeps coming back to this and saying, look, Senate, do your job. Congress, do your job.
The White House is hoping to turn the page after one of its most chaotic weeks yet. For the new chief of staff, who starts tomorrow, a lot to fix. The president's former campaign manager has this advice.
You have to let Trump be Trump, and anybody who thinks they're going to change Donald Trump doesn't know Donald Trump.
By the way, if Congress does not pass a health care bill, the president has threatened to end some government payments to health care companies. And those payments help keep costs low for some lower income people. An American tourist shot while vacationing with family, what police think may have been the motive.
And you may have heard of this song before, called The Way, but do you know the story behind it? Still to come, why the song has a special meaning for one Central Texas family.
But first, here's a live look tonight over our North Austin studios. Third day, record-breaking heat, but Albert's promising that streak's going to end. That's still ahead on KVUE, where trust is earned. Violent protests have left more than a dozen people dead in an election that critics say could trigger the end of democracy in Venezuela. Today's election will allow President Nicolas Maduro to replace Venezuela's current legislative body with a new institution that will have the power to rewrite their constitution. The opposition says it's a power grab, and local media reports 13 people have been killed in protests during the past 24 hours. And one of those people killed was a candidate for office.
The U.S. showing its military power tonight after North Korea's missile tests showed the capability to strike America's mainland. Today, the U.S. successfully testing its anti-missile defense system over the Pacific. But that wasn't the only show of force from our military. The United States flying 2 supersonic bombers over the Korean Peninsula. Japanese and South Korean fighter jets joined the bombers. They performed a low pass over an airbase near the South Korean capital of Seoul. $2,200 a night. That's how much it cost an American lawyer to stay at a luxury vacation home in Turks and Caicos.
But despite that cost, it wasn't enough to keep him safe. 57-year-old Michael Jones from Washington, D.C. is recovering in Florida right now after being shot by a masked gunman. The 2 suspects leaving with only a laptop after subduing a bodyguard and shooting Jones. The Turks and Caicos officials insist that the country remains safe, but Jones is the second American tourist shot there in the past 2 months.
Australian authorities raided homes today after a terror plot where suspects planned to bring down an airplane. 4 people were arrested during those raids. Authorities say the suspects were making a peroxide-based explosive device rather than using nitrate-based chemicals that can be detected by airport security swab tests. Security have been increased at Sydney's airport since Thursday because of that plot. Well, it can be one of the hardest things to talk about.
But for those struggling with mental health issues like this new mother, it's necessary. How opening up can change your life and the silent majority who aren't.
Then we learned the staggering cost to fix Austin City's swimming pools and build new ones.
Okay, so get this, 24 out of the last 30 days have featured high temperatures at or above 100 degrees. July is going to go down in the record books as one of the hottest Julys on record, right now in 3rd place, and we're going to wrap up the month tomorrow in the triple digits. Cooler weather and rain in the forecast, though, that's coming up.